Let's start by opening up the controller. Inside, you'll find mounting brackets designed to make wall installation easier. We'll come back to those in a minute. You'll also notice pre-attached wires. These are meant for DIY kits and small jobs. But since we're going for a more professional custom installation, you'll want to remove all of these wires. Why remove them? These are 22-gauge wires, which don't allow enough current for larger systems. They cause voltage drop, which limits how many lights you can power. Instead, we'll be replacing them with 14-gauge wire, which is what we've found to work best with this system. Step 1, make room. This is one of the earlier versions of the controller, so the control box may block access. You'll need to slide it out of the way to access the existing wire channel. Step 2, remove waterproof connector, if needed. If you're installing the controller indoors, like inside a garage or any weather-protected area, you can remove the waterproof connector entirely. If it's going outside, keep it attached to maintain a weatherproof seal. Step 3, plan your wire runs. For this setup, we're running 2 home runs. The system technically only needs 3 wires: ground, power, and data. However, we run a 4th wire as a backup, just in case one of the wires shorts or splits. You'll have a spare ready to go. We're using 14/4 audio cable, and we'll start by grouping the power wires together and the ground wires together. These are labeled inside the controller. Power is on the right, ground is on the far left, and the middle 4 ports, 1, 2, 4, are for data. Each port can control about 150 lights before you need power injection. So for now, we'll insert our white data wires into port 1 and port 2. Power injection, optional for larger jobs. If this were a larger install, you'd bring in a 14/2 wire for power injection. Red goes to power, black to ground, and you'd run that wire to the power injection point about 150 lights down the line. For this demo house, we're skipping power injection. Step 4, clean up the wiring bundle. Your green wires, they're unused. Snip them off or tuck them neatly to the side. Pro tip, pull extra wire into the box. You never know if the customer wants the controller moved later, or if you need to cut and restrip wires for troubleshooting. Having extra slack saves a lot of headaches. Just coil it inside the box and tuck it away. Now reinstall the controller cover using the included screws. Watch the fan. There's a small cooling fan at the bottom of the controller. Make sure none of your wires are hanging down and touching the fan. If they are, it can jam the fan or cause an annoying ticking sound.
So when you first plug in your controller now and you go into push the plus button at the top, you're gonna have 2 things pop up. One is gonna be for the controller device, and one is gonna be for this smart outlet, your relay switch, okay? On your screen, it's called like the house and then the outlet, the circular outlet, okay? I'll explain what these are. Let's go ahead and add in your controller first, which is the house. Click on that. Go ahead and hit skip. Wait for it to find your Wi-Fi. Then you go ahead and connect that up. You have to enter in your password. Wait for it to boot up. And then name it whatever you want. You can name it the controller, lights, or just name ours demo controller. And then add it to the room you want. You have to do we're gonna have to demo, so it stays in a certain room for us. You can add it to anything. You don't want to add it to anything actually if you don't want. Now let's hit add device again. Now we're seeing a little relay switch pop up, which is the picture of the outlet. So we're gonna go ahead and tap on that, and we're gonna get that. We're gonna skip location permissions, and we're gonna wait for that to find our Wi-Fi, select it, enter your password, hit connect. Okay, you should see a blinking light on your relay switch. This little blue light is blinking, and you should see that. knowing that it's connecting to this. And now I'm just going to say demo relay. Let's go ahead and hit next. I'm going to add that to our demo room. Once again, you don't have to add this to any room, especially if they don't have any devices. Okay, so we look. So now we have both the demo controller and the demo relay. And I'll show you how these two work.
So now that we've added both the demo controller, or controller in, and our relay switch, which looks like the outlet, you can see our lights are on. Okay, what this relay switch does, if I were to turn it off, it is going to actually kill the power to your entire system. So if customers are like, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? It's because their demo relay switch isn't turned on, okay? The reason this is important is because this can kill the power to the whole system. So you don't have current running through the lights or that fan that is on. It can kill the power to that fan, so that fan isn't running constantly throughout the day, okay? So if this is off, and then I go into my app, and I'm trying to change things and turn them on, it's not going to work. They're not gonna come on. So you have to go out and turn, make sure your relay switch is on, okay? And then now your system will work, okay? So now for the purposes of setting up your controller, let's go into our controller, okay? As you can see, we have zone 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're not using 4 or 3. And so we're just gonna start with zone 1. And right now we're gonna go zone 1. We're gonna go to settings. We're gonna make sure that our color is correct, right? Red, next, green, next, blue, finish, okay? And then we wanna do the number of lights, okay? So you wanna delete this down all the way to the correct number of lights. So on this system, you only have 10 lights, I believe. There's less than that, but let's just say it's 10. Or let's say it's 100 lights in this. We're gonna hit save. We have 100 lights in zone 1. Then we're gonna go over to zone 2, and we're gonna do the same thing, settings, color calibration, make sure everything's good in our zone. Okay, and then we're gonna go to the number of light settings here, okay? So with this one, we are going to count out the number of lights. If you have to just do it, one by one to figure out where you're at exactly, okay? So this one, we have 10 lights. It's a short home run, we have 10. We're gonna go ahead and hit save on that. What our team does is they screenshot that, so we know that there's 10 lights on zone 2 and there's 100 lights on zone 1, okay? Go ahead and save that. It doesn't really matter too much. You're mainly doing this so you can figure out how many lights are in your system, so you know how many linear feet are installed. So I'm gonna go back. What I'm gonna do is, because these are all in one zone, you can leave them separate if you want. Typically, with the front of the house, we are gonna go and we're gonna create a group, and we're gonna just combine all the lights, okay? We're gonna say all lights. Okay, confirm. And then what we're gonna do is go back into our settings, and we're gonna do number of light settings, and we're gonna make sure that that is set at 100. Because if your zone 1 has 100 and zone 2 has 10, it can sometimes, when you combine them all, revert to just 10 lights in the system. And so at that point, if it reverts to 10 lights in the system, then your zone that has 100 will cut it all the way down to where you only have 10. And so what you want to do is make sure this is set at your largest run of lights, and then go ahead and hit save for the overall system. Okay, and now what's going to happen is you're going to go into themes, and they're all changed together, okay? And that way you don't have to worry about the customer being confused between switching to their different zones. Now, obviously, if they have a front porch and a back porch, I would separate those zones, but you can also combine them together for the customer. It's really easy. You just would hit the delete button, and that would separate out your zones back into its normal settings. But I like to put them all together. Just it's a lot less confusing for the customer. And then now they can control them together and make patterns and save them. And it'll work pretty seamlessly. Okay. And then the last thing is if they don't like that fan, obviously they can shut off the lights from there. It'll kill power to the entire controller and the fan. You can also go in and they can set up a a schedule on this so that it's off during the day and on at night. And so they can do that. We typically like to set, not from here, we typically like to go into Smart and add a smart calendar in. Here's one that I've pre-created off at sunrise. So our relay switch is going to kick off at sunrise, and then you'll have another calendar and then you want to, it'll be off. So you actually want to turn that back on. So it comes off at sunrise, let's save that. And then we're gonna add another one. And we're gonna have it actually on sunset. We're gonna have it turn on at sunset. We're gonna find our demo relay next. We're gonna add an on, confirm, and now it's gonna switch on relay. On. Done. Okay, and so that's something you can do so that the customer doesn't have that fan going throughout the day. Now, all they have to know is that if this is off and it's during the daytime and they want to go in and like create, different stuff and mess with their system, they just have to go in and manually turn that light switch on. So then they can go in and mess with the system. Okay. So it's pretty cool, but it helps with that fan noise of the customer's experience and helps, kill power, especially when you're installing. Okay, so to recap, the new smart relay switch is an awesome addition because you should be able to install, hook it up to Wi-Fi, both the controller and the relay switch, and then from the rooftop up on a ladder, you can pull out your phone, you can kill the power of that relay switch, so you don't have to worry about cutting through the wires while there's a current running through it. So that opens up a lot more efficiency in how you're installing. Now, the second thing is it can kill power to that fan. You got a certain percentage of customers that get annoyed by the fan, especially if it's running on the side of their bedroom or they have like something in their garage. So not very many, but a few of your customers will complain. As you can hear right now, that fan runs when it's warm. And so you can probably hear that fan right now going. So what we'll do is we'll basically come into our app. I don't know how well you can see that, and we'll just kill the power. And it kills off our lights and it kills that fan. And so if they do complain, you can show them how to do that. You can even set up a schedule for them so it'll kill the power to it. Or you can, but just make sure they know they have to turn it right back on when they want to use their controller.